What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tony Ortiz here, back again with another This Week in Brave Exvius, coming at you on December 21st, 2022, the second to last show of the year. And there's not much going on this week as we wait for the Xmas units to come out. But real quick, want to go through some changes to the show with you. We finally got emulators working, so that lets us have game sound now, which I didn't really ever want to turn on with my phone just because the way to route it through the computer, like while sharing wirelessly, was just just a logistical nightmare for me to do without a mixer. So hey, we've got some cool Xenogear card music in the back when I'm on the home screen, and then whatever the game's actual music is when I'm in the other screen. So that's something we got updated, and that's actually the most exciting thing that happened this week. No, I'm kidding, of course. So we got the first part of the Final Fantasy VII banner. So thankfully, there is hope for Sephiroth upgrades on time. Apparently, after doing some research, they came with the second half of this banner, which is, I believe, Yuffie. So if you've looked at the news for next week, you'll see that Yuffie is not coming. We're getting our Xmas. I don't really know why they decided to split this up. I don't know exactly what the problem was. There was probably an issue, honestly, if I had to guess. There's probably an issue with one of these units or the Vision World itself. And then they held it for an extra week. I think that they probably wanted to do both of these in a row. Honestly, I thought they were going to do these two potentially last week and this week, and then they would hold Xenogears for January, which would have made sense to me. So they could actually fix all the stuff that they needed to fix with Xenogears. Because really, if you're just importing the Final Fantasy stuff directly in, there's not really much you need to do other than like a buff to Cloud and Yuffie to make them relevant in endgame content that we have on Global, which is what they are attempting to do with Cloud. As he is not a Clash of Wills unit, he will obviously struggle to do damage when he has no morale-based skills. So Cloud has a skill that is going to scale off morale. It's like a passive buff he's going to get for how much morale you have, or how little morale the boss has. It's the same thing either way. I don't know how this is going to work out, and we won't know until tomorrow when people actually take him into the clash and see how it goes. I haven't heard any news about it, and nobody's really been talking about it. So to me, that says right away, like, probably not very good. But we'll have to wait and see. The jury's out. The problem is, even if it is really good, Cloud's a premium unit. We just had a collab event less than a month ago where we had two 60k premium units to get a pity. And, well, frankly, Cloud's damage is heavily gated behind his ability to do lightning damage to the enemy. So, well, that's not terribly inconvenient considering how many good supports there are for that element. It unfortunately means that you're not going to want to bring him to a lot of different fights, and he doesn't have a ton of utility to make up for that either. 2B has a tag team LB, Imperils, same with A2. Her damage is a little bit harder to get going, but she again has Imperils. She's got, she's very easy to gear if you have her EX3 and everything. Any unit that's bringing like a 500 base stat increase materia generally is going to have a lot of their other stuff soft capped by a lot of their other gear, their card, and so on, which leaves you slots for killers, and they have really good killers already. It's just a very difficult ask to pull for this unit, especially when he comes with Barrett, who is basically just a fire version of Jekt, but not as good, obviously, because Jekt was also a premium unit. But if you don't have Jekt and you want to take a little bit more damage into a fight where you need a physical tank where Runda doesn't fit the bill, Barrett can do it. I think Barrett is perfectly fine. I think Barrett's where a regular bog standard, not Clash of Wills made unit can be. Like, he gears pretty well. It'd be cool to see a version of him that was really good so people would actually use him somewhere, but here we are. We're not in that position, really, unless you need fire damage for some reason instead of just bringing Runda to whatever fight it is. So, yeah. I did not pull. I will not be pulling on much going forward. If you haven't seen the last couple weeks full of vids, I am now officially free to play on the game. I took the money I had set aside to spend on the game in 2023, and I purchased some collectibles with it instead. Something that has a chance of giving me a return on my money. Maybe instead of buying stuff in this game, I'll buy some computer components, for my new computer that I want to build next year at some point. I bought a new phone. My old one was kind of chugging. It was running out of space, and I really don't want to wait until like the spring to get the newest model, so I just bought the current model because, Christmas sales and all that, holiday sales. So I won't be pulling on much. Next week, we'll talk about next week when it gets here, when we're all done. But yeah, this one, not really worth it in my opinion. If you have Cloud Fever, if you absolutely love the character, I get it. He's not bad at it by any means. He's huge damage. He's absolutely huge damage. The thing is like, if you're not wailing for Dark Vision / Vision World, or well, I shouldn't even say Vision World because we can share rank 1 in Vision Worlds. If you're not wailing for Dark Visions, which we only get you don't get a Dark Vision every month because you get Vision World sometimes, and in Global sometimes they just skip a Dark Vision. So, for you to be wailing for maybe 8 to 9 Dark Visions in a year, and with him being hard locked to Thunder, as long as only the end stage stays uncappable and it's weak to every element or not resistant to whatever they do to Global. They do something weird to Global where they take the boss's weakness and they just make the boss's weakness in Vision World / Dark Visions nothing. So you can bring whatever you want to it, which arguably is cool because then you don't have to pull on as much, but then you have no use for a lot of these Japanese units that aren't scaled properly for Clash of Wills. So, what do you do with those? You pull one and they sit on your bench. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I have thrown some tickets, for my daily, summon. If I have a summon 3, I'll throw 2 tickets at it or 3 tickets at it, whatever it is. Yeah, Final Fantasy 7 for me, not super high on the tier list. It's if I did a tier list of Final Fantasies, I would put Final Fantasy 7 original in A tier. I'd probably high A tier. The game itself is great overall. There's some plot holes that get worse actually with the games that they've made since then, but it definitely has some of the coolest characters. The base plot is really good, like corporations killing the planet. Great commentary, especially for back in 1997, but when it was happening, but it wasn't as overt as it is today. Interesting systems, lots of replayability, room for grinding, things that you can miss. It had hidden characters that you could theoretically not pick up. And it was just jam-packed in an era of great games. So I don't know if it would not make my top 5, but high A tier. So the thing is the characters I really like from it, they've never done anything with in the game. Vincent's my favorite character from the series, or from this entry in the series. They've never done anything with Vincent, unfortunately. We have 3 Barretts, but 1 Vincent. I don't know. Whatever. They didn't do a whole lot with Kate Sith ever. I like Kate Sith a lot. I don't like the character itself. I like that once you figure out who the character is, I think that's really cool and interesting. And I like the Turks a lot. They've done a little bit of work with them, but nothing really. We never got Sang. I don't know why we never got Sang. He's pretty important, and just nope, we don't get him. There's Rufus running around. There's some characters there and there that are kind of interesting, but and we've never gotten Sid. Sid's my other guy. So Vincent and Sid would kind of definitely have me, my interest peaked. But the third Cloud, the third Barrett, and it's just I don't know. I can't really care at this point about Final Fantasy 7 units in this game. And I'm not a fan of the remake. I don't like changing the story. I don't like changing the combat. I like old school turn-based combat. I'll play an action game every now and again. Tales games come to mind. But they still have these elements of strategy where, timing and you can only do so many actions per round and so on and so forth and on and on. So, yeah, that's pretty much it though. Cloud, great damage, but all of it's behind lightning, and if you don't have like Sylvie or something to bring with him to stuff, I mean, there's no good lightning field right now, is there? Because Esther's field deletes every other field, and it oh well, I mean, I guess you could bring her. You might just want the LB field though from. Yeah, I don't know. And that's a toss up because the problem with Esther's field is it overwrites other fields. That's the biggest problem. In a weird way, it kept her out of the meta for longer than she should have been in it, which is pretty interesting. I think that's completely by accident, but it does exist. And there's some other fields that you want to bring actually in lieu of elemental fields if you can. So there's an LB boost field you can bring from Cecil, Dark Knight Cecil, I believe it. Right? Yeah. So there's some cool other things you can bring, and then you can layer on top of that an actual field like Nickel, Tsukiko's, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's just the one weird part about Cloud. There's not a Thunder field right now that he can really take advantage of in Global, unless you want to sack all the other fields, which I don't think you really should at this point. So yeah, just a weird unit with a weird spot. But I mean, tomorrow if he kicks ass in Clash of Wills and does tons of damage, then maybe there's a chance that people pull him on week 2 and he stays around for a little while, as long as we've got Lightning Clash of Wills coming. But it's 2 lightnings in a row, so I don't know if we're gonna get another lightning one. Lightning and light on both these clashes. I think we're gonna move away from those elements. I think next one's gonna be definitely ice is gonna probably stick around for the holiday units, and then from there, who knows what 2 elements will come after that. I think they're probably gonna want to bench Tsukiko and the near units, so Cloud might unfortunately suffer from there not being lightning on the next clash, and oh well, right? He's just got to sit on your bench for a little while. All right, let's take a look at Vision World, because there's really nothing else going on this week. Oh, there were some fights, I guess, right? I'm gonna take a look at those real quick. There's this fight with Reno, and then there's this fight with both Rude and Reno. There's no really easy way to say this, but Sephiroth EX3 one-taps this Reno fight on all stages, and then he one-taps each of these guys in 2 turns as well, so there's really nothing to write home about here. Let's jump into Vision World real quick. And this Vision World is a little bit of a change up. We only have 7 spaces instead of typically, 8, I believe. Yeah, so a little bit different. And pretty much everything else is bog standard except for the way the farming works. So when you come in here to farm, and I have 50 energy, perfectly by design. This was my plan all along. You come in to farm. This is what I've been doing it with. Now, I'm not going to talk about rank 1ing this. It is very easy if you have the near units. They just explode this stuff. Definitely check out all your fellow content creators for that. I have no near cards. I only have them both at EX2. I still obliterated this. Well over damage cap. No problem. So farming, I dumped in 3 technically maxed EX3s from Final Fantasy 7. And then I dropped in Rufus because he's a breaker. And he can carry the light breaker materia into this fight for us, which guarantees we kill it on turn 1 without any thought whatsoever. So, yeah, they just kind of own this. But here, I'll just run this real quick for you guys. Haven't actually done it on my emulated version, I don't think, all week. So, I might have to actually queue up all the actions here. Let me see if it's smart enough to. Nope, it doesn't. Okay. All right, so. We're going to get, I'm sorry, LB is got the stat buff too, right? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and LB with Aerith. We're just going to Light Breaker with Rufus. Oh, Tifa attacking doesn't matter. She brings nothing. You could have Tifa set up her LB. But then you just kind of basically come in here with, some Bolting Strike / EN here, and, tag team attack plus Plus 27 hits plus a kill. So easy peasy. But what's interesting about this this Vision World in particular is that you have to farm a lot more fights than you did before. So as you can see, the materials dropping here. Same as always, we get the little white crystals that you have to turn in to buy the stuff. And you get the little medals. But you're kind of probably going to notice that the medals, there's a lot less medals, there's a lot less currency here. Probably wondering, why is that? Well, they removed the crafting element of turning the white memory fragment thingies into more of these metals. So you have to farm out these metals. You have no choice. However, they reduce the cost drastically on everything. So the farming will probably be a little bit more fighting specific bosses instead of just farming the end guy for as many fragments as possible and then just morphing the fragments into the metals that you need to finish out every piece of gear. So we'll go ahead and take you into the exchange shop now. This is kind of worth talking about because this is the first time this is changed for us here on Global. And we'll talk to King Mog, and you'll see that instead of having the fragments cost thousands or whatever, each item only costs 50 to buy. The first level costs 50, the next two levels cost 100, and then this costs 150. So in order to buy a level 2 recipe, you only have to kill the last guy 1.5 times. That's 60 energies worth of kill if you use a full farming team there. And that's with me having 3 of the 6 units not at EX3. So you get even more bonus than that if you had all EX3s. So, and you'll buy all these. The same old good stuff is still here. It's just per 1 now. So you get 300 dark matter per 1. You get 300 red quartz per 1. So you can buy all your red quartz. And then when you go to craft, that's all the same. When you go to craft, it takes a lot less metals to get you to each level. To, kind of like lower the numbers a bit. Instead of like having like 20,000 or whatever for the last one, it's like, I don't know, 1,000 maybe. Let's head over to the crafting. Did I? There we go. Yeah, so 0 to 1 is only 50 metals, right? So we got that, and you get that in one fight, And then you can kind of see that it goes up to 100. And then it goes up to 200. And then I believe the last one is 400. Oops. Oh, it's only 350. There you go. So very, very low. You'll probably end up doing the same amount of farming. It's just going to, like I said, it's just going to shift around. So you're going to farm the end boss guy until you max out one of the items or the materia. And then you'll probably want to shift over to the actual fights that dedicated drop the ones that you have remaining, just so you don't have a bunch of overflow where you not only get fragment you can't use on anything but like, say, crystals or whatever, but also you don't get metals you can't use either. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. That's all there is going on this week. We didn't have an item world reset. We've got a decent amount of news for next week that we'll cover then. I don't really think that it's poignant to cover it now. We have our weekly free 50 summon that started this week. I guess we could talk about that real quick. This ends up being less than a 10+1 every day. It's 27 units less if you do the math. But 3% NV rate isn't bad at all. So you're probably going to get 1 every time. I think I got 1. It was garbage, but hey, that's what happens with freeze. So there's always a chance you spike something that's good and not power crept away. And I think that's pretty much it. We're kind of coasting into the new year here. I would imagine that after Christmas week next week that we will get the second set of Final Fantasy VII Remake units, which will have Yuffie. And we're going to see if Sephiroth keeps his buffs or not. So If Sephiroth loses his buffs, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be furious though. Not furious as in terms of my blood pressure rising, because you can't let disappointment in a video game get to you. You really can't. The older you get, especially. But I will be furious to the point where I express my discontent and my disappointment, and I think I'm already kind of doing that in the place that it matters most with my wallet. So there it is. Well, thanks for hanging out again this week, guys. If you want to catch me live, check out the link below in the description box. We stream the recording of the show live on Twitch every Wednesday night. We upload it immediately after, and then sometimes we hang around and play additional stuff. Sometimes we do farming, we'll do some CAW, we'll do whatever in this game. Sometimes we're playing other games. Right now I'm having a lot of fun with Warhammer Darktide, even though it does need a lot of work. I definitely want to throw that caveat in there. So yeah, if you come hang out with us over there on Twitch, you'll see that on Wednesdays. On Sundays, we have a variety night. I'm usually, when there's not like a big, huge release out like Darktide, I'm usually playing like Final Fantasy IV randomizers or something like that. So if you want to come check us out, then please do. And then sometimes there's bonus streams depending on what's going on in the world, what season it is. I often will stay inside a lot in the winter. This winter, I'm doing some family stuff, but that is progressing along quite nicely. So in the January and February months, you'll probably see a lot more bonus streams from me coming out at you on Monday and Friday nights. And it's probably going to be a lot of Darktide for right now, but there are some cool things coming on the horizon that were announced that are coming from Q1. Especially something that I've been looking forward to is a game called Last Epoch, or Epoch, however you want to say that word. It is a spiritual successor to Diablo 2. And it is available on Steam right now. You can purchase it, and it is in a buy the purchase, get in the beta. It has been for about 2 or 3 years now, and it's coming along quite nicely. The only caveat at the moment is it is single player only. However, the multiplayer beta is coming in late January, early February, closed, and the official launch of the multiplayer open beta for everyone who owns the game will be in the second week of March. So when that rolls around, we will definitely be playing that. I absolutely love the game. There's just not really much for me to do at the moment in the game. But we'll definitely probably pick it back up in the weeks leading up to getting into the beta. I definitely applied to get in to the closed versions the weekends leading up to that. So we'll definitely, once we get closer, we get to like the February area, we'll be updating the information in the description box on Twitch, where you can find all my contact info and all the games that I'm playing and the schedule and all that. In the panels at the bottom, we'll update that to include that, and we will definitely be playing quite a bit of that. So, and I have a feeling that right around then, that's when we're going to get the Cyberpunk expansion. Maybe the summer. They might wait on that till the summer, but I'm targeting that, I think, for them. And then also, I'm assuming that Darktide is going to have a lot of huge updates coming right around that time as well, end of Q1 of next year. So hang out with me until then. As always, appreciate you guys coming by. Hope your pulls are great, and let's hope that Sephiroth keeps his buffs, and that this game, even though it's in maintenance mode, let's hope that they take enough care of it for it to last a few more years, and then we can all enjoy each other in this awesome community that is formed around this game. I definitely will be. I can guarantee you guys this. I mean, even if I get as fed up with this game as I get, I'm definitely going to follow the people from this game if they leave to whatever game they go to next. Guaranteed. Just because the community's that cool, So wherever, let me just throw some great shout outs here. Wherever Sinzar and Gert and Flip and Saiyan Knight and Red Mage and Lindilly and wherever those guys go, and wherever they go, I will follow them to whatever game they go. Hopefully everybody goes to the same mobile game when this thing dies. But I'm definitely going to follow them because it's a great community. It's a great community of people. Like one of my favorite things to do since I've come back to the game is watch the unofficial live stream during anniversary, and just can't say enough how much I appreciate all the people that really breathe life into this game when the company doesn't do it, and we sorely and desperately needed it this year, with the losses that we experienced. And that's something that I don't want to lose. So no matter how bad the company gets with their decision making and so on, don't lose sight of what's important, folks. We'll see you next week.